Okay, welcome to Babble Station. I'm Izzy, and with me, as per usual, is Lomi. And we're back after what's been a busy couple of months, right?
It has been a busy past couple of months. I think just recently, this early year, we've had our annual Big Babble.
Yeah.
But apart from that, we've actually been participating in a lot of extracurricular activities. So we've done open houses. We've actually also had talks in schools, which you may or may not have heard if you are also part of those partnering schools. And we've even invited other students and younger professionals to come and visit us for an open house or kind of like a firm hop kind of
Right.
dialogue.
That's just in the first 3 months, but we're back now. And joining us in the studio are the people from Vizcode. So Vizcode is an online platform that's launching also this month, right? And with us now is Berns Berberabe and someone who's also back,
Welcome back.
Miguel Macam. Welcome back.
Hello. Hello, everyone.
So I think the last time you were here is actually in our Top Notchers episode,
Correct.
which
correct.
is our most viewed
Most viewed.
episode,
Yeah,
if I'm not
Mhm.
mistaken.
Yes. Up until now, actually, I still get messages na parang, pengi naman ako ng link sa via flashcards. Yeah.
So,
So,
Binibigyan mo pa rin?
yeah, binibigyan ko pa naman din.
So, may
Syempre,
standard message
yeah,
ka
I
na.
have a template na hi, thank you for listening. Mga
Wow.
followers.
Sikat ka na.
PSA na lang to. Pwede ba?
Yeah, you can still message me. Yes.
So how was
Gcash
the
QR.
experience been for you? As in, parang, you're saying even until now, meron pa rin nagme-message and your board exam was back in
January 2024 last year. Yes.
So parang up until now, parang you still get the effects of it na parang you're still helping out.
Yes. And that's why we're here also.
Yeah, so ang galing.
Wow.
Yes. To help the future architects.
Si Berns was actually a part of our batch noong January 2024,
Yes.
diba? Tapos yung pinaka-recent na nag-take is you, Lomi. So,
Yeah.
nakatulong ba sa'yo yung previous episode ng Babble? Pinanood mo ba siya?
Okay, pinanood ko siya. As in, mga twice ko siyang pinanood kasi
Wow.
tinitignan ko yung mga tips and tricks. Apart from the fact na kami din yung nag-check ng episode, I really found it helpful kasi,
Oh, what's your biggest takeaway?
Oh,
Wow!
Yes.
oh my God! I guess yung biggest takeaway ko is, I mean, general lang naman to, pero it's the fact that valid lahat ng review styles. You
Mm.
can review in a year, 6 months, 3 months.
I disagree. Joke lang. Sige.
Kung kaya ka man, tapos if you're a visual learner, if more on text ka, if kaya mo na all digital, kaya mo na handwritten, whatever works for you, that's what works.
And siguro someone who has the biggest parang takeaway na nag-materialize talaga into something
Mhm.
tangible is you. Can you share to us yung AL experience mo naman?
Yeah. So hello everyone. I'm Bernard Berberabe. So I'm the founder of Vizcode. So I'm a CSP graduate. So I'm currently working at a design firm. No? So at Bad Studio. So I do most of my Vizcode work after work. No? So it's like my night shift. No? So together with the other my teams. No? So the whole story of Vizcode was born out of the struggles I had when I was reviewing for the board exams. So super quick backstory, like a 6 months review, and then the full 6 months. That's the usual span of the review, right?
Yeah.
And then syempre, I wasn't fortunate enough to leave for work the whole 6 months. So I was reviewing and working at the same time. So I think similar naman to all. No?
Yeah.
And then I think the last 2 to 3 months would be the full-on review.
Yeah.
So I had to squeeze in all those information and just in those 2-3 months. So yun. So one of the problems that I encountered, syempre when I was on site, yung mga onting times ko that I could review, like after work, on the way to site, So those are the times na pinapasa ko yun. So I had to syempre compile my notes, and then bring it where I could. So I think that's one of the problems I had, at least for accessibility of like reviewing. And then the other one, particularly for the codes, I mean, review centers obviously have a comprehensive review from all topics, structural, MEPs to design. But in particular for the codes, I think there's no specific platform yet that would focus mo, like a niche. Kumbaga it's a niche website. So I wanted to, at least I was thinking maybe it's about time to work on like this project.
So Vizcode, PH, can you guys explain ano muna siya for those who might not be aware?
So just a quick, like a brief intro for Vizcode. So Vizcode is a learning platform designed to help future architects and professionals master the architectural codes and standards. So it's crafted by top-notchers and experts in their fields to give an accessible, easy architectural accessibility and comprehensible, all in a click of a button.
Yeah, it's basically a visual library of our building codes here in the Philippines, at least.
If you could parang liken it to an existing website, siguro dimensions.com,
Yeah,
ano ba?
Probably, yes.
Yeah.
yes,
Or
yes.
like even yung digital version ng Archigraphics, if
Yep.
some people have tried that then.
Correct.
So I think Vizcode is first in the country of its kind na parang digital reference talaga. So is there an existing parang Vizcode sa ibang bansa or that you know of?
Actually, when we were doing this, our main reference as the concept artist was really the codes of the other countries. Of how they were able to translate these texts into diagrams. So nakainget, no? Kasi we have that kind of version. No? Some of the codes have diagrams to explain the text. No? So for example, BPT44. A lot of visual diagrams. But we were wondering why can't we apply it to all the codes?
Yeah, sure.
And that makes it certainly easier for all of us. And I think we can see in the American codes, Australia, they have mga visual diagrams na maganda.
Yeah.
No, I'm not saying pangit. Maybe needs improvement, you know. Ayan, and then in one single platform, na consistent visually. I think that's really, really good.
Yeah. I think it's nice to hear about Vizcode, pero from the word visual, so might be nice if we can maybe flash yung full version of the website right now. Okay.
So yeah. So I can give you guys a walkthrough of the website. So again, it's live. So this one actually, this is the staging site because not everything what we're seeing here will be in the live mode. So we can start with the Vizcode library. So the Vizcode library, this feature we haven't been really advertising this yet. So the Vizcode library is a database lang of the actual codes, like a full text, of the building codes, laws, and standards. So it's a word for word format, So I'll show you one that we're still working on this. So we're hopefully launching this feature in the next 2 months. So here's a preview of the code, So again, the text format. Siguro quick lang of the scope of this code, It's not a comprehensive visual format, Kasi not all parts of the code naman could be translated into a visual format. So there are just certain parts. So that's why we have this section. So students could still review the whole code,
Yeah.
So yeah, I
That's
think the wonder of this
Vizcode
code library is you don't have to access or download multiple PDFs of the actual reference.
Yeah,
And then sometimes yung ibang codes, I'm not sure if na-encounter nyo to, but the latest codes, you cannot control F.
Talaga?
Like,
Para siyang scan?
Scanned lang, diba?
yeah.
And maybe the old build, maybe the old BPT44 was like that. And then it was really hard to control F. Ganyan. At least this one, it's all in one website. The text, the code itself. So you don't have multiple files.
It's nice kasi nakakalito din minsan pag nagda-download tapos hindi mo alam
Yes,
yung latest version. But
That's and then
it's nice.
we try to put in the most updated here in the Vizcode library.
Yeah, so it could be like a quick search then, So may search bar yun din, So if ever like if you wanna cross-check in other codes, Kasi again, you mentioned a while ago, There are different, iba-iba rin yung numbers per code, So there's a chance for us to see then, right, all in one website. So and then the 3 modes, I guess.
Yeah.
We've been featuring in their pub mats is the isolation mode, comparative, and game mode. So these are very straightforward modes. So for the isolation mode, so if you want to go in depth of the code, in depth review of the code, so just click into the 6 code. So we have 6. Will be at least for our first launch. We'll be including these 6 codes. National Building Code, Fire Code, Accessibility, BP220, PD957, and the Green Building Code.
Is there anything else ba you missed? Or hindi pa? Parang these
Parang these are the main.
These are the main.
Yeah, especially in ALA. These are the heart of the exam.
Yeah, but we're like maybe in the future we're looking into expanding into topics kunyari, yung mga...
Yeah.
Similar
So,
to
because
ano.
as Bernard mentioned, though, it's really impossible to translate the every text from the code, no? Kasi imagine building code, how many pages? Parang. So we try to get the main subjects or main talking points of the building code. Like what are the most important? So we have the Rule 7 and 8, Rule 12, everything that talks about design requirements. So obviously those topics we selected for this launch. No? But in the future, no, since it's a website, it can be updated. It can be patched. No? So we can release more diagrams in the future. So I think slowly, no, we're trying to build this library, this visual library that we can expand later on. I think that's the great idea, no, of having one consolidated platform.
Like we mentioned, it's a continuous evolution update for Vizcode. And that's why we emphasize it on volume 1. So, so I guess we can push through with the
Ang galing. So, merong parang kasamang text kung
Yes.
saang section to nakikita.
the actual
Yeah,
reference.
so maybe we can talk about. So on the left side, these are the
category.
the categories for the rules. So right now, no, you may notice na some topics are missing, some rules are missing. No, kasi these are the main subjects lang that we are trying to roll out first.
Yeah.
So if you can scroll it down, I think sa sidebar. On the
So this
left.
includes
Yeah,
all the
so
topics,
that-
at least for
Rule 3,
Vizcode.
Rule 4, Rule 7, 8, yan, di ba?
Rule 8. Wow.
Ang dami na ng Rule 7 and 8, especially Rule 12, no? Medyo crazy. And on the right is the subtopics. So for example, you want to study a particular topic. Let's say you wanted to study about open spaces, no? Or what are the lot types indicated in the building code. So first you have to know what rule it is. So that's Rule 8. And then select the topic you want to learn about. So minimum percentage of site open spaces. So here, as mentioned by Bernard, you'll transfer na to the right side, the info panel, to toggle between the multiple subtopics under that topic. So we all know na maraming multiple lot types in the building code. So interior lot, inside lot, true lot, corner lot, and such. No? And then I think the main thing about having everything in one screen is that you can also verify with the diagram that's indicated by the code. So we also included this from the code for those doubters out there. Because I was a big doubter when I was studying, especially if the diagram was not made by me. I'm 100% doubtful.
Yeah.
So what we included no is the from the code panel under the info panel. So ito directly from the code na yan. No? Directly from the code. No, that means na hindi namin siya inedit, whatever. It's extracted from the code, and you can see it side by side with the diagram that we made. So
Also, just to add on what yung mix regarding the doubters, we also added a feature here. A feature here for like the report discrepancy. So this one, so just to make Vizcode more, accurate and
Nice.
in a way, parang it's a two-way learning thing, no? So people could just flag it if ever they find any errors, or discrepancies. Because even in the code, in the actual codes,
There's
a lot.
So-
There's a lot of back and forth that we have to discuss now. What is the code saying here?
Yeah.
And even the consultants, because we have consultants, architects, who double check or verifies our content, no?
Yeah.
And those items, no, sadly, I think error na from the code, and that's why we wanted to also put in the report a discrepancy, because at the end of the day, this is we're human beings, and we're not excused from like maybe typographic errors, ganyan. So that's why that's report discrepancy is really really important for us. No? So audience, the learners can also flag some errors that may be in the website.
Yeah. Also, just to add, I think based on my personal review experience, then when we're reviewing with peers, even though we're looking at the exact same code, sometimes there are different interpretations
Correct.
of the
Yes,
same code.
exactly.
So, ayun nga, I think that's where the doubters come from, na iba yung interpretation ko since
Mhm.
most of the time super convoluted ng way the code is written just so it can be exactly specific. So, nangyayari is there are different interpretations of the same text. So, like I appreciate na merong reported discrepancy, pero I also appreciate na you really take the time to not just discuss it among your team, you also have external consultants that will help you
Yes.
verify these. Kasi nga, I think may subjectivity yung
Correct.
code at times.
Yeah. Actually, that's one thing that we wanted to add in the future. No, since as mentioned, no, there are different ways to interpret the code. So these are, at least for Vizcode, this is our best way of interpreting upon consulting with our consultants. No? So like maybe in the future we're thinking of having different iterations of how the code could be applied into the diagram. So this one we just have a few. So again, this is our best way to at least simplify. No, but eventually that's why Vizcode's continually evolving. No, a lot more diagrams to update, add in the future.
There are already a lot.
Yeah, a lot more. No? So yeah.
Question on that pala, since you mentioned discrepancies. Minsan yung interpretation, iba yung pagkaka-interpret in practice versus in ale. Like, di ba? May,
Yes,
So,
absolutely.
these parang visualizations na ginawa nyo, is this parang close interpretation for review purposes talaga?
Yeah.
Yes.
By the
Okay.
book.
By the
Yes,
book.
by the text talaga yung hinabol namin dito for at least this version of Vizcode. No? We're really targeting ALA tiers at the moment. So that's why our content is also filtered on what we expect, the topics that ano yung lalabas sa ALA.
So I'm curious, sino yung consultants nyo for this?
Yeah, maybe
So-
we could give a shout out.
Yeah.
So we have four main consultants at least for Vizcode, for at least for the initial launch. No, so for PD 1096 we have Architect Jeboy,
Oh,
Lugeron. So he's a I think he's a professor at JPT.
Yes.
Something to mention, no? So yeah, for BP 344 we have Architect Arman Estapio. For Fire Code we have Architect Matthew Ellis, and then for BP 220 and PD 957 we have Architect Enkil Cubos. So they're involved mostly were in the last few phases then of Vizcode. Now we started to build this up and at least internally and then discuss this with them. So I think yun na yung naging causes of like revision and then umabot din ng almost a year. No, initially we were targeting like this first just 6 months, no, at least for the initial target.
And then we
And
realized
then-
it's impossible.
Yeah. So there are a lot of back and forth.
It is not.
Considering our like full-time jobs, so it makes
Yeah,
sense
yeah,
that we have full-time. So we do this at night
On the side.
on the side. So
It's really passion.
Wow.
yeah. And then like multiple people in the team. Like the
Yes,
first
yes.
few, just a quick story in the Vizcode.
Yeah, sure.
It was just after exam, no, like 2-3 months after, we was discussing this with at least me and my office mates, no, and then ayun, we came up with this. At least ako with my brothers. One of siguro at night, no, one of the things that we do is like looking for problems and trying to solve them. So this one problem I had when I was reviewing. So ayun, and then during the oath taking, I went up to Migs. I messaged him in Facebook. So hindi ko na weird out si Migs sa akin eh. Another fan. So yeah, so yun yung first when I reached out to Migs. And then eventually yun, may mga referrals.
Immediately na,
top-notches.
kasi this is something that I really enjoy doing. No? Line diagrams and all that. No, this is really right up my alley. And then I think now is the best time to shout out the incredible team of Vizcode. So for PD 1096, so we have multiple concept artists. It's not just me. No? Impossible to do it just by the sobrang dami ng codes na.
Yeah.
So for PD 1096, I contributed along with Altaya Poblete. So I think yung pinakamaganda dito sa setup namin is it's a combination of all the architecture schools, I think.
Yeah.
No, so it's like
Yeah.
like we have folks from CSB, UPD, UST, and I think it's the collaboration that I didn't expect that could work. No, so for PD 96 we have Altaya Poblete and me. For Fire Code, we have Jarvis, Color Days of UST. PP344, we have Angela and Luis of UPD. And then for PP220 and PD957, yours truly. I think Jarvis also worked in Clean Building Code as well. So that's the entire team.
And let's not forget our researchers. No,
Of course. Yes.
Yeah.
So
we have Cheska, architect Cheska, and architect Andy. So also from USD. So I think they're same batches now. Same batches from our
so they're
thinking.
the mind behind every diagram.
So
No, so they almost did all the cross checking, the referencing which topics to select.
They're the ones who formalized the database of the codes, no?
Yes.
Which was used eventually for turning them into diagrams, no? Initially, we started with just us four, no? It was just the researchers, Andy and Cheska were the first people who I reached out to. And then Migs as the lead concept together with Althea, of course.
Correct.
And then yun, we realized after on na parang I think we need more people to come in because it's getting madami. No?
We didn't really expect the volume of work.
That.
So imagine this platform has at the moment I think 700 to 800 diagrams at the moment, if I'm not mistaken. No, so ang dami. That's a lot to do. No.
So, question na lang pala on the interface. Kasi ikaw yung lead concept artist, meaning you came up with the branding, right? No?
So what I permanently do is how the user experience somehow of the website, and as well like what is the visual language of the diagrams, like how will they look like, what would be the design direction, the standards per se, and we also have a website concept.
Yep. Web developer. There are more in the team. At least also we also have a few creatives in the team who helped out with the overall visuals, like improving the. Because again, we started with from like scratch, from zero. No,
yes,
we started with conceptualizing these. At least it started interpreting yung actual text to these diagrams, and eventually it evolved into formulating the design language, at least for Vizcode, to make it all consistent. Lalo na there are few more people coming in creating these diagrams. So those were some of the at least struggles we had, putting in like a few different people then from different schools, different their own take on their designs. I mean, at least in their graphics. So yeah,
I asked kasi I appreciate even yung colors, yung selection of colors, yung font, which is very important when parang reviewing. I realized na nag-review din ako na some texts are easier to read than others. Even yung pagkaka-layout, sobrang pinag-isipan talaga.
Speaking of layout, this is just one of the two main ways that you can access the website. So obviously now we're looking at it on a laptop mode or in the desktop mode, but it's also accessible via your smartphones. So like that's the highlight then of Vizcode, that you can access the code anywhere, anytime. Yes.
So it's not just the information that we're selling, it's also the convenience of it. Yes. So I think, as mentioned a while ago, like when I was reviewing, at least for you guys to know, in the 6 few months, syempre those just an hour of your time, like pwede on site, pwede kang mag-review. So that's one thing I want, at least we wanted to incorporate it in our website.
Yeah, when I was studying, parang there are moments in during my review days na parang ano ulit yung minimum ceiling height for like a natural ventilation. So at least when you have it like on the go, you can just quickly search and then boom, nandun na yung info. Na hindi mo na kailangan mag-scroll to the entire PDF of the MVC, ganyan. I mean, that's just like sobrang mundane na example, but there are like other ways that you can, I think, maximize this too. I think we can look into more detail. Siguro a couple of more diagrams for the isolation mode. So right now we're looking at the rule number 6, fire system requirements in construction. So under this is the minimum thickness for fire resistance. So we're highlighting this because this diagram was formulated through a table. So if you can see, scroll ka lang dyan from the code. So this is again an excerpt from the PD 1096 mismo. So, if you're just if it's the first time that you're encountering this table, you don't, what the hell is this, diba? Parang, ba yan? Daming numbers. So, what we try to do is, again, dumb it down, like visualize. How do we interpret this table? And we come up with a diagram like this, no, that shows the minimum thickness for fire resistance. For example, for hollow masonry construction, these are the numbers that you are looking at, and these numbers came from this table. So, ayan, in the most simplest way that we can, visualize it for you, you can see it in one image, in one diagram.
And that's just one mode out of the 3 that you mentioned, right?
Yes, correct. So maybe
Yeah. So we can continue on showing you the comparative mode. This the comparative mode actually is one of my initially this is what we had in mind, at least for the first few months of Vizcode. No, we just wanted to if you can see, it's very much patterned into yung mga reviewers that we see before. I'm not sure if you're
that's the
familiar
main
with
inspiration.
what do you call this? What's the name of
Sila, Architect Pedro. That's just, let's give credit
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
the
Imhotep, if you're familiar with those
Imhotep,
those
Yeah.
Excel forms that shows the differences and the similarities of the code. So this is more of a visual format of that. So again, it's highly patterned to these reviewers from the review centers did. So
Madami nang pinagraduate si Imhotep.
yeah, di ba? Babble. But some are, I think yun din na naging problem ko before, no? Some files are not updated, some numbers are not
Yes.
updated, no?
Yeah.
So now that we have the Vizcode, no, a website, it's something we can easily update, no? And then students could just go into our website and then see the updated codes. So
Yeah, I think when normally, when you're studying talaga the codes, especially in the latter stages of your review, it's natural that you compare the codes, no? Kasi parang, I've seen this number before, and it appeared. I'm studying BB344 now. Oh, this very same provision has a number for PT1096,
Yes.
and sometimes ano ulit yung number na yun, ano ulit yun, and then naturally you will write down, you will make a table on your own. Na parang, this is for PD1096, this is for BB220, and such and such and such. And then you'll realize later on, oh shit, this is very, very tedious. So this is what we tried to come up with, a visual version of that. And an example would be elevator provision requirements. So right now, the code says there are 2 main provisions in PD1096 and in BP220. So, for in one simple class, you will notice that PD1096 requires an elevator 5 stories or higher, and then BP220 on the other hand requires 6 stories or higher. So, it's just your typical comparative table visualized, basically.
yeah, I think we should also mention the from the code part, no? The reference. So
Yeah.
Nice. Wow.
yeah, this is where
Yeah, and for the
we'll
doubters
get into
out
the
there,
detail.
I love this. Most of the time, like if you're not really paying attention, you just read halimbawa BP220, tapos you don't realize na may clashing na
True,
code that says
that's true.
otherwise. Kasi for some instances, may mga namimiss ako na, there's a different standard for this. And then when I encounter, for example, when we're doing mock boards, they just ask you, in this case, like, what is the minimum provision for elevators? Tapos yun naaalala ko lang, for example, is 5 stories. Pero they were in fact looking for 6 stories. So it's
Yeah.
important then na we see na, may different versions of this provision pala. So we have to know which one to apply in the specific scenario.
Plus,
Yeah,
usually din sa ALE, since diba multiple choice.
They just ask you.
Yan talaga yung
diba?
lalabas, yeah.
Yeah, and then yun nga, as Lobby said, yung exact what number will you use in exact provision? This example, I think, is the best scenario for that. So right now we're looking at firewall extensions. So if you have this in just written format, you'd know that PD1096 requires these numbers: 0.3, 0.4, 0.6.
Yeah.
BP220 requires 0.3, 0.3 on all sides, top of the roof, from the edge of the wall. However, in PD957, these numbers are the same, but applies only to row houses. So at least in this case, you can see that, oh, this diagram is different. This diagram is showing a different building, a different kind of
different
residential. So I know, like, there's an image attention in me na, oh, I've seen this in Vizcode na. It's the same number from from BP to 20, but you can only apply it in row houses.
So there's a visual connection to how it looks like then. So it's not just numbers that you're seeing.
Yeah.
Because we tend to sometimes, if we're reviewing, it's just the numbers we're trying to memorize, not really like visualizing how it really looks like. So now we have the example that what Mix Architect Mix did sa PD957. Now you can see the differences now, and not just the numbers.
So let's say let's look at one more diagram that we can highlight for the comparative mode. Say you want to study about sidewalk. No, so all you have to do is click the category panel on the left, and then look for the topic that you want to study. So it's the same parent, similar to the isolation mode. You still have the topics on your left, no, and then you can browse through it. So, but for this one, let's look at sidewalks. And then so you'd see now the different variations or different requirements per code. So let's say we want to see the minimum width, minimum clearance for sidewalks that roads have 15-meter width. No, so click lang yung 15 meters and then it will change. So you can see that the PD1096 gives you a range, no, 10 to 19 meters. Ito dapat yung sidewalk width mo.
Yeah.
And then you can see that in BP344, it's static, regardless of the road width. It based on the number of wheelchairs that you want to cater. So minimum width for one wheelchair is such, and then kapag two wheelchairs, and then you can see then naman yung sa BP220 and PD957 having their own minimum width for this particular road width. So this is something that you cannot like see in just a written text or in a written table format. No, it's good that you can visualize the side by side. Now, right now, I know that BP344 doesn't care about road widths. But PD1096 and BP220 and PD957 do.
Yeah.
And in PD1096, it gives me a range of road width, and it does not give me a specific minimum width. It gives me a formula that I have to compute pa.
Yeah.
Parang ganon, no? So, in this sense, no, you can just really understand it in an much more easier way, I believe, no? And again, you still have your code reference at the bottom.
And also, just to add, I think also a good thing about this, no, since it's a visual format, no, we can see the scales, the differences in these numbers, no. So
Yeah. So, jumping off of that, no, you can see kapag 12 meters, it will change to width, no, liliit. And then you can see na pag lumiit yung road, liliit din yung sidewalk width.
especially
So-
as visual learners,
Yeah,
especially
visual
as
learners, it will
architects.
help you retain. So, pag 10 meters, liliit na naman din yung road. And then you can see na limit na yung sidewalk.
So that's for the comparative mode. But another section that we want to share also is another section of the comparative mode is the comparison mode for BP 220 and 957, PD 957.
Yeah.
So it's a similar format with the overall comparative mode. It's focusing on these two topics. No? So
Yeah,
it's
if you're just starting, no, to review the codes right now, maybe you plan to take the ALE this coming June, and you're not yet familiar of the codes that we're talking about right now. But naturally, BP220 and PD957, they are like brothers and sisters. No? They go hand in hand. No, they cannot be separated. And naturally, you have to study at sabay. No, parang there's no point of studying one and not the other. At least for the sake of the exam. So what we did is, for BP220 and PD957, they don't have isolation modes, but they have comparison modes. Kasi it's easier to learn the codes in that way. Comparing it kagad, no, ng diretso. So in BP220, you have socialized housing, economic housing, and in PD957, you have parameters or provisions for medium cost and open market. And again, similar concept behind the overall comparative mode, but this one just narrows it down to BP220 and PD957. Kaya ba when you were studying, is it the same way for you? Like when you were studying BP220 and PD957?
In a lot of the reviewers that I saw, most of them magkatabi talaga yung like those two codes. Kasi nga, most of the time, they, even in the review questions, tinatanong sila in comparison with each other. Like, they have a specific question, what is the minimum of this? Tapos the questions always revolve around those two. So I think alam nila, the examiners, na merong confusion between the numbers and between those two codes, and they kind of try to medyo mind games ng slight from what I know, na alam nilang familiar kayo with these numbers, but you're just not sure which ones they belong to. So, at least yan, helpful that one's yellow and one's purple. So, medyo maaalala ko. Kasi black and white lang talaga yung texts that are available or were available to me when I was
And then we
reviewing
try
them.
to be as consistent as possible now when we're referencing BP20. 220, it's always yellow.
Yeah,
And
I
then
know.
BT957, it's always purple. No, so there's this retention in there.
I mean, the reviewers din mostly, you can see the way it was represented in the reviewers are in charts. So here's again, just to show the viewers how it looks like in the usual review format. So you'll be seeing numbers and then charts now. But then we also added that, of course, just to help the users see the difference and then associate it and how the numbers would look like in a more visual format.
Yeah, this one actually one of my favorite diagrams that I made for BP220 and PD957, which talks about the minimum area for parks and playgrounds. No, so kahit wala kang idea about what these codes are telling you, and it's the first time that you're seeing this code, no, you'd notice that one is more denser than the other.
Yeah.
Like in this diagram, no,
You can immediately tell it.
there are 150 dwelling units per hectare, and then the other is showing only 20 and below lots or dwelling units per hectare. But they have the same minimum requirement, 3.5%. So for that, no, you can parang conclude na kagad na, okay, this one is giving me more denser, or this allows for more dense housing, and the other doesn't. Kasi nga, they have different parameters. And just by looking at visually, meron ng understanding about it, no? And this is just like one of the topics that you can notice. So, meron pa yung typical na ratio between saleable and non-saleable lots. You can see PD957 has parameters for this, but PP220 doesn't have. No? So, mga ganung bagay na it makes it easier to understand. But then again, no, we would like to like put on a cute disclaimer na this is just a tool. This is just like one of the many tools that you can use when you are studying. It's really it's still fundamental for you to learn the comprehensive method, the comprehensive way.
Correct. So this is not meant to replace the actual review. It's more of a supplementary, So that's why we also added again the Vizcode library. So students can still refer, at least review the actual codes, and then see how Vizcode, this tool could help supplement their understanding with the codes.
Kasi the text is still important. Correct. Kasi minsan sa exam, verbatim, like fill in this, parang word.
Actually,
Question pala dito sa PD957 BP220. Nung nag-review ako, parang may nalala akong may amendment something for this.
Correct.
So, do you add those additional parang amendments sa visualization?
Yeah, so for this, a good thing you pointed out. No, so for this patch, trigger warning. Someone
I remember this.
no.
So this one, ito yung mini-mention I think is na talks about the amendment. So recently, we have this let's see the code reference. This board resolution number 973 last 2018. Na you cannot find in the code.
Yes.
You cannot find in the BP220 code kasi hindi pa siya updated. So again, this is just like one of the ways that we can easily find updated provisions in just one platform. So we're doing our best, no, to keep these codes updated. And actually, funny that you bring that up because as Bernard mentioned, no, the history of when we started Vizcode, we started last year, April, and then wala pang bagong PP344 nun, by the way. So we already started conceptualizing, making diagrams for all codes, including BP344. So we were referencing the old
one.
BP344 because as many of you know, kaka-release lang ng bagong BP344, I think months ago.
Yeah.
So we had to go back to the drawing board and then re-study
delete
the
lahat.
codes of the BP344.
A good thing we didn't really actually start with the 3D. Mostly with the research part. So and then ang daming binago sa BP344.
Yes.
So it's like twice, triple the number with the details. There it's much more detailed now. So yeah, so now with this patch we have the updated BP344 and recently I've been syempre, during the beta release we've been using this also in the office It's like a quick reference with BP344 especially if may mga projects ng mga developer projects a lot of it needs some referencing sa the updated BP344. So one of the few ways that this could help the profession.
Meron nga din talks about parang matagal na to sa usapan na mag-i-update yung building code.
Yeah.
So, naisip ko lang for you guys, ano yung release parang pipeline nyo if ever, let's say, na-update yung building code? Ilang months kayo dapat mag-work on the new one?
Yeah. So, actually, that's something we're still working on, the timelines. At least based on experience, for at least the time that we did, it took us over around 2-3 months then, maybe 3-4 months for a code to for complete from research to translating it into a diagram format.
Yeah, but
it all depends, of course, in the
volume.
So this is at least
I think 3 months
but I think
is
that
enough.
3 to 4 months kasi we were still
figuring
figuring things out, parang having a basic standard.
There were a lot of trial and error then along the way, especially in the first few months with MIGS. And then when we were able to finally, meron na kaming design language, alam namin yung flow, it was easier for the rest of the team to come in and at least adapt to what MIGS and Althea and then the rest of the researchers came up with already. So, yeah.
The rationale pala for using isometric, can you explain?
The original idea for Vizcode, we wanted this to be, at least when I was brainstorming, more of like a 3D, what do you call those? Parang virtual reality na format. It wasn't in this format. So, para siyang, what's a good example?
Is it like my 3D object that you can maneuver?
Yeah, I was considering that. Similar to sa dimensions.com, right?
Yeah.
But this one more of like a walkthrough.
Mm-hmm.
We were thinking of conceptualizing a house, with all the codes in it. Pero we were thinking obviously the feasibility, yung timeline, and then future-proofing then the project. So imagine if codes are continually updating. So we'll never know when the next one, when they decide to update these numbers. So we resorted to this format, isometric format, just so it's easier then to update in the future. And another concept that we incorporated here is the referencing the Anki app, like a flashcard type of format, we can scroll next into it para at least easier than yung editing ng diagrams.
So we wanted something flexible.
Correct.
Basically, that you can just insert more diagrams in, more diagrams. So, and to answer siguro the isometric, I mean, to contribute to that topic, we certainly, we admit that we have some challenges along the way that limits due to our design language of being isometric, not 3D. For example, in this diagram, we're talking about maximum travel distance to exit. It's really difficult to show in a isometric way. So sometimes, no, you'd see in our diagrams we have this supplementary floor plans or 2D plans that can maybe help better understand the diagram. So for example, in this case, no, we're looking at maximum travel distance to exit, and then this is the floor plan. So we're showing na kapag may sprinklers, it's 60 meters, and then kapag walang sprinklers, it's 45 meters. So things like that. No, it's I think we make do of what our design language is now, and then we support it with additional graphics, icons, 2D plans, 2D sections, whatnot. Yeah, so yeah, and doors. So we have like a 2D plan along with it to show na we're referencing the clear width. Yeah. Sometimes like this. No?
Mas gusto ko yung direction na to actually, yung hiwa-hiwalay. Kasi I'm not sure if you guys have tried yung Archographic Standards. So may CD sa original book nun. Tapos yung CD parang may program. Tapos yung sa Archographic Standards ni DK Cheng, yun yung sinasabi mong isang bahay talaga. Tapos magpipick ka ng section, tapos lalabas. Pero for me, medyo overwhelming.
Yeah.
Like hindi ko alam saan nahanapin sa bahay. So at least ganito, mas madali i-navigate.
Yes.
Yeah.
Actually, that's the original idea of Vizcode. That's like,
Yeah.
dapat ganoon yung mangyayari. But eventually, no.
But like you mentioned, it's not not user friendly. It was harder to review, no. Unlike this, just next, click, no.
We were very, that's very limiting din kasi.
Yeah.
Yung ganong concept.
Especially kung nasa iPad and phone. So, yeah, that's one of the main considerations.
So yeah, and then another aspect that we wanted to touch on Vizcode is the interactiveness with the user. So that's why we come up with another mode, the game mode.
Yeah.
No. So this is kind of similar to the Anki, to the Via, to the Quizlet that you already may know, except it's built into our system, into the website.
So currently it's the game mode is still on the works. We're not releasing this yet, at least for volume 1. But just to give the users a quick preview.
This is a Babble exclusive, by the way. Wow.
So just a sneak peek for users now. So a lot to improve on our game mode now. But just to give you an idea, it's a simple drag and drop of the diagram. So it's similar to, we patterned this with Architect.
Yeah, Architect.
Yeah.
Archidictionary, the yellow
history. Website. So it's more of like a drag and drop. Very simple pa lang siya at the moment. No? But yeah, this helps make the whole experience more dynamic, more interactive.
Yeah.
So yeah, right now you're looking at the minimum number of exits per occupant load in Firecode. So
incorrect.
Let's say you wanted to study, no? Kanyari, ilan exits ba kapag 0 to 500 occupant load? Is it 4? Is it 3? Is it 2? So you can just drag and drop your answer, and then the website will tell you if it's correct or not. So it's one way of challenging yourself.
Yeah.
Like siguro, I mean, when I was studying, no, siguro just for the listeners, no, sometimes, no, like especially in that review period, there are times na you go outside with your friends, you take a break basically, but there are dead times na parang boring. Maybe I wanted to parang do a quick review or do a quick refresher on my head. And this is like one fun way to do it. Na parang it's not like the typical 1 to 20 questionnaire that you have na multiple choice. It's just like a fun game that you can do.
This game mode, ano lang to, parang local lang siya. Hindi siya like online, tas may kita mo. May magkaka-high score ba to?
Scoreboard.
That's maybe.
Pinakamagaling sa Firecode, si Stranger.
That's a good idea actually. That's maybe something we can consider.
But some like the community is not really one of the things that we're looking into actually. You know, we're building a Discord channel.
Yeah.
Nice.
Something
So hopefully a lot of people would use at least itong sa first batch na, and then eventually if we get more like audience na users, that's something it could evolve into, like a community.
Something like that.
So
more
Yeah.
interactive.
Yung mga
than-
competitive dyan.
Yeah.
Parang, at least hindi ka
Mga sweats.
top-notcher sa top-notcher ka sa
Sa
Vizcode.
Vizcode.
And also, parang for discussion, you can meet people, discuss about some codes.
Yeah, yun
So
yung
again,
important.
Yeah. So yun din, like, I think upon discussion din with some of our consultants, no, a lot of like again back and forth din with the discussions, marami kaming questions, no, even the top notchers, no,
Yeah.
even them, no, even the consultants are, syempre may mga some topics that they have to double check. So
Mhm.
especially imagine for us, like for our future architects, no, like studying, no,
Yeah.
there are a lot of questions there. So maybe having a community that would help each other, no, with the consultants, with the top notchers. So that would be a good environment to be in then. So hopefully, no, we get enough users to help build that community.
How about like a quiz mode? Parang full. Is that
Yeah.
somewhere in your
Yeah, actually, no. One thing siguro we can bring this up, like consideration maybe using AI, no, into into this whole website, no. More of like not generating answers, more of just helping the website into creating these mga questionnaires, no. So there are lots of apps right now that uses AI as a tool to help with reviewers, no. Like put in your notes and then it would generate your own flashcards, no. So that's something we're looking into, no, in the future, no. So yeah, so this one's a very simple drag and drop pala.
Yeah. So, question, since you mentioned AI. I'm curious kung saan mag-fit yung AI into this. Kasi even now, like when you use ChatGPT,
Yeah,
you can just ask,
correct.
explain this code to me
Correct.
and show me a diagram.
Yeah.
Ngayon,
Yeah.
medyo poor pa yung diagram ng
Yung
ChatGPT.
visual part.
Like, it uses ASCII characters pa rin to generate. Pero siguro give it like 2 years, maka-generate na siya ng like a graphic.
Correct.
Proper
So then,
training, proper
explaining that code, showing that code. So I could imagine how that can be disruptive, not just to you guys, pero to other parang businesses na yung main value proposition is organizing publicly available code and turning it into a graphic.
Correct.
Kasi eventually, I think magagawa na rin yun ng ChatGPT. So how will you parang future-proof siguro Vizcode? Or will you just accept that reality and maybe venture into other parang areas na pwede gamitin ng AI, like maybe automating parang flagging violations agad. Like, kasi sa Harvard pala, na-research ko lang to. Ginagamit nila yung AI to flag violations sa design even if you just upload a PDF. So that's something na since code din yung Vizcode, inisip ko if that's somewhere in your pipeline then. Pero yun nga, how do you deal with ChatGPT AI?
Yeah. Well, currently, as mentioned a while ago, then, at least for the initial use of AI, no, we wanted it to be more of like just a tool to help create, like at least for the game mode, the questionnaires, not really producing numbers from these. Again, no, I think Mix mentioned, it's mostly prompting, like teaching AI about the codes, but then it could be very dangerous, no, because they're just dealing with numbers, no. They're just there's no heart into it then. So again, so it's mostly just helping the app, no, AI to generate these mga games, no, to make it more conducive for reviewing, no. So far that's yun pa lang yung target namin, at least looking into touching into AI.
Yeah, I think some learning platforms, like learning apps, also uses their own built-in AIs for these stuff. No? So I think Vaya has one, and such.
Quizlet has one.
Quizlet,
Question, since you mentioned yung parang Vizcode nga is geared towards review. Na-mention din kanina na mayroong people who prefer visual learners. I think 90% visual learners, 10% prefer text. There's also the parang distinction as 50% would prefer siguro digital, yung iba prefer physical, like printouts.
They prefer to write it down.
Yeah, so are you imagining Vizcode na magkakaroon ng parang print version?
Yeah. Eventually, if everything goes well with Vizcode, that's something we're definitely looking into, like making this into a more soft copy, a hard copy, like a book that the people could use.
Yeah, I imagine like just game mode na parang worksheet siya.
Nice.
No, na parang you can just, instead of drag and drop, you can actually write. No. So maybe we can publish like a PDF version for everyone to use.
Yeah. 'Cause personally, I think I would print.
You prefer
Especially
the
if-
printed out version.
Like, if wala lang kong access sa internet.
Correct.
Ganong cases.
That's true.
Yeah.
Can you explain to us pala yung magiging subscription ng Vizcode?
So for Vizcode, though, we've patterned the study plan. So we call it the study plan
Yeah.
into similar to how review centers do their
Yeah.
sell their courses. No, so it's a 6-month plan, and then we added the 3-month plan for people who may crunch time. No? So a lot of, I think, very
A lot of people.
a lot of people just do like the 3-month plan. So it depends. And then some people do 12 months. So that was the whole basis of the of dividing these yung study plans, no. And then so it's flashed in the screen. So you have $7.99 for 3 months, $9.99 6 months, and 12 months $1,499. So it's just about for at least yung 3 months natin $267 per month. No?
Mhm.
So just parang price na rin ng Starbucks, no? Like a
Yeah.
one Starbucks just for a month. No? So it's not bad. So I think one thing that the team then has like mentioned din, paano kaya like the screenshots, no? Some issues like that, no?
Yeah.
Again, no? What we're selling here is the convenience, no? Of having an account, no? Scrolling through it, like a quick search that you can do. The people could just screenshot these, no? So syempre it happens, no?
Yeah.
But again, we're selling the convenience of it. So
I think tangent din yan to what you mentioned earlier na how do you protect yourselves future-proofing in terms of if nag-catch up yung AI to your software na you can just ask anything sa ChatGPT. Overall, it's really just the convenience of everything. Kasi although you can ask ChatGPT specific questions when the question comes to mind, wala sila kasing, okay, ito yung entire review mo, specifically catered to the architecture licensure exam of the Philippines for this particular like year or years. At least here it's curated na ito lahat ng codes, ito lahat ng information that you need. And to be able to achieve that sa ChatGPT, you'd have to
Train your model.
train it,
Yeah.
or you have to curate it yourself. Wala yung convenience of everything is there.
I think it's not as localized as people would assume it is
Ayun din, that's
right
another
now.
factor.
So, but who knows, no? I'm talking about now, not talking about like
Yeah.
5 years later, 3 years later. I'm not discrediting the power of AR, but at the moment, no, I don't think it's localized.
Even if like, kasi pwede na ngayon sa ChatGPT, mag-upload ka upload mo yung file code PDF.
Yeah, and then it can
Yeah.
give
It
you
can,
summary.
it can give you parang, if you ask it a specific question, like, ano ibig sabihin ng section ganito? It can answer, pero magiging doubter ka din. Kasi, minsan may, what you call hallucinations. Yung AI.
Yeah.
As a comparison mode pala. Kasi this is just comparing different codes. Pero meron ba kayong like comparison of different sections within the same code? Kasi may instances, especially like for example, sa fire code, may certain section na nagre-require ng, let's say, standpipe para sa ganitong height. Pero may contradicting statement sa later sections na actually hindi, automatic sprinkler. So within the same code, minsan, I think there are conflicting sections then.
You want parang to see the diagrams all together in one code.
Pwede, oh yeah.
Yeah.
So, something to compare. Kasi meron din, for example, again, sa fire code, mayroong different provision for like winding stairs and these spiral stairs. But in a way, spiral stairs is also a kind of winding stairs. So may mga confusion na ganun within the same code. So I was wondering if you guys plan on tackling conflicts then within the same code. Hindi lang yung BP344 versus NBC versus ganito.
Actually, good that you brought it up. Kasi we also have a feature in the info panel during your isolation code. So within, we're talking about comparing within the code.
Yes.
Basically. So I understand that, no, kasi it was also my concern during my review, that there are multiple provisions in the same code that may be confused with other topics. Say in stairs, no, in building code, there's a different minimum width requirement for the type of stairs. And naturally, you want to compare those. So we have straight, winding, circular, or spiral. So just go to your isolation mode, no, and then click. There should be a see all button, no, below the category, below the subtopics, no, that allows you to see all the diagrams at the same time.
So it's a comparison.
To compare it, no, basically. So a pop-up window will open and then you can see na, okay, straight na stairs, ang minimum run is 250.
Yeah.
Kapag winding stairs, ang minimum run is 250 then, but measured from 300 mm from the narrow edge.
Yeah.
Kapag circular naman, ganito. Yeah. So it's another feature, no, that makes learning really easier.
So that's basically what Vizcode is trying to solve, that problem. So having these diagrams, no, showing the differences.
Madaming parts sa code where you have to compute for the occupancy. Tapos yun yung magdidictate kung aling code yung gagamitin. So how far are you guys willing to take visualizing the code? Gusto nyo ba maglagay ng mga calculator?
Yeah.
Like occupancy calculator?
That's
to compute how many exits dapat.
That's actually something one of the consultants mentioned before. No?
Correct.
But might be late. It's something that we can collaborate in maybe with the government, no?
Yes.
Kasi that's something that kumbaga, developers, architects could use as professionals. That's why at least for Vizcode patch this volume 1, we're catering more for again the students
the learning side of code.
But eventually
and then the application will come in later siguro, no, maybe in the future, no, but right now we're sticking kasi there are two ways to use the code. Right now we're sticking with the how to learn the code.
Okay.
And then after that, once you become an architect, no, how do you use this code? How do you apply this code?
Yeah, maybe
So yun yung
another
another part of the code that we haven't really dabbled in.
Yeah, you mentioned you plan to maybe in the future partner with organizations, LGU, mga ganun. How about right now? Sino yung magiging unang partners ng Vizcode?
Yeah. Our target users are ALE takers. So we were able to partner with a few organizations. No? So these are the few organizations that we were able to partner up with. So mostly UAPGA and UAPS organizations. No? So we have, quick shout out to these organizations, no, who believed in our vision at least before launching the website. No? So we have Archinet, no, from UST. We have UAPGA Alcadia, UAPGA Baguio, Cavite, Ciudad de Vigan, Davao, Legazpi, UAPGA Manila, UAPGA National, and UAPSA National. We have UAPSA Saga, and then UAPGA Pangasinan. So far, these are at least our main organizations that we want to partner with. So users their members could benefit with our exclusive discounts. No?
Yeah, right now we're focusing really on the students or the underboards.
Yeah.
Because that's our primary target, and I think they will really benefit.
What's the parang reception of students or
Again, sorry.
ano yung reception nila ng Vizcode?
Kasi I think also with the visual, I think the overall visual design language really helped attract these students because it's very colorful, no? It looks fun. It looks fun to use, no? So I think that's one of the that helped attracted these mga students, no?
Yeah, so I actually think it's good na madami ding nagko-collab with you guys, even on the early stages. And right now na, even before you officially release your platform, meron ng UAPGA, UAPSA, and other organizations. And I think that's really important kasi personal experience ko when reviewing was that people had to hand me down yung mga reviewers or what to do. People had to hand me down your reviewers or what to do or like give me a specific list na, okay, ito yung mga kailangan mong aralin, ito yung mga ganun-ganun. And I'm really thinking about people na walang ganong type of system or community with them. Kasi yung right now, yung nagiging culture natin sa ALE is that you have to rely on your predecessors in a way to kind of give you everything you need to know. And with Vizcode or everything that it has in store for it na may Discord community, you're also interacting with a bunch of organizations, student organizations, and also on their boards. as well as having a comprehensive review and reference for all of the codes, as well as like an interactive game mode. It's a good way to start from scratch when you have nothing or when you don't really know where to start or walang community for it. So I really appreciate that.
All right. So before we end, you guys want to plug ulit yung launch nyo? Like, where can we visit Vizcode, socials?
So yeah, so if you're preparing for the board exams, no, and you want to master the codes that shape our built environment, no, you can visit our website at www.vizcodeph.com. So we are live now, and yeah, don't make sure to check our exclusive discounts then with our partner organizations I mentioned. For our socials, follow us on our Instagram account, our vizcode.ph, and our Facebook, vizcode.ph.
All right. And with that, thank you for joining us for this conversation. And thank you to everyone who tuned in.
If you guys are interested in these types of conversations, you guys can also follow us on Instagram at Babble with us. We also have a Facebook, Babble, and you can tune into our future episodes on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts.
See you in the next Babble episode. Bye.
Bye.